If you like dancing on the dance floor like no one's watching, then Sippy Disco Light Up the Dance Floor might well be the puzzle variant of that game for you. In this game you play as Sippy the unicorn, oh yes, and the idea is that you move the unicorn around using mouse controls to light up all of the different squares on the disco dance floor. As you do this, and each level is designed around this, you will be marked not just on being able to light up all of the squares and then complete the level, but also your efficiency, because each score is marked with a percentile of efficiency. So if you keep backtracking and going back and forth over things you've already lit up, the percentile starts to drop. And this is really where you'll be aiming if you're more of a puzzle fan than a casual puzzle fan. You'll be aiming for that 100% completion rate, because each level has like a step limit of where it expects you to have completed things nice and cleanly, and then anything after that will then start dropping down that percentile. The actual game itself is extremely easy though, and across the 50 levels the difficulty curve is like a wave machine, with some of the easiest levels coming towards the end, when what really felt like a tacked on wholesome story edge suddenly bounced in for like the last 5 or 6 levels that just came out of nowhere and really just felt But in the lead up to that, there are some interesting game mechanics here. So as you wander around on the dance floor, you've got pressure pads that will unlock at different areas, and some on and off switches that are normally placed in crossroads, so as you walk over them it will turn that light on and off depending on what you're doing. There's also disco balls that add a little bit of a Sokoban element to the game as you push them around, and they're often pushed onto switches to enable them to stay on as you kind of move around the level. The best thing about this though is the parrot aspect of this game, and in some levels parrots will literally parrot and mimic your moves, and they'll be set off on a slightly different part of the level, usually surrounded by their own little weird switches, and what you'll be doing as the unicorn is moving around so that the parrot mimics what they're doing, and they'll be turning switches on or off, or flicking those on and off pads to the right way, so that as you complete the level they also complete their little bit, and then it magically all comes together at the end. And that was some of the best elements of Sippy Disco, and really where I enjoyed teasing apart some of the admittedly very easy puzzles that are in this game. That said though, I did run into quite a few frustrations with Sippy Disco, and they largely fall into 2 sections. The first is restarting levels and coming back into the game. Whenever you do this, it doesn't save the current level that you're at, it takes you back to the previous level. And I was like, what? But it kept happening every single time, and I've seen on the Steam forums other people have raised the same issue as a bug too, so I hope this gets fixed. Because the main reason why you end up having to restart a level is because of some visual issues or visual cues that don't feel as strong as they need to be. When you put this game in full screen, because it doesn't do it naturally when you open the game, it cuts off the bottom of the level in a couple of the levels, and I was like, can't see everything for sure, and sometimes they have switches on, so then it makes it a little bit of a guesstimation work. But when you've got pressure pads, sometimes the outline of what it's going to bring in that's been missing from a level is quite difficult to discern from the rest of the very dark backdrop that you're working with. And so quite often I would walk towards an area thinking that I could walk through it, and then realise I couldn't, and I'd be like, So then I knew I'd buggered my percentage, so I'd exit out of the level, then go back in to restart it, realise that it's not saved it, takes me back to the previous level, which I'm going to have to faff through again so that I can then get to the next level and go on. And that just grated over time, and I became a little bit grumpy with that like collection of bug cycle as it went round. The other really cool little hidden thing is that when you complete the game, there's like an exceptionally catchy and extremely camp 80s pop song that pops up at the end, which I'm assuming has been custom made for this game, and it's a little bop, so I do recommend that, particularly if you like a good old cheesy Eurovision song. It would do quite well. However, I would struggle to recommend Sippy Disco because it's too easy. There's some nice theming that goes on here, but it just didn't come together in a cohesive manner for me to feel like I can strongly recommend it. It's really the casual puzzle gamers that will get the most out of this. Anyone that's done hardcore puzzling will get through this in under an hour. And whilst there are 50 levels, they are exceptionally short and very easy to solve, and I didn't really get stuck once. And that says something for blonde little Essex me. Written review will be over on highplanegames.com. Take care. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/Higher Network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.